guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are doing fabulous today as always. So today we are jumping back into the world of UX. We are talking portfolio. They are a designer's bread and butter. So specifically, we're going to talk about some common mistakes that I have seen, as well as things that I have also done being a new designer. So we're going to go over a couple things and just some things that I feel like I would change and just some things to kind of watch out for as you guys are preparing your portfolio. Before we jump in, my name is Stephanie. For all you new lovely people out here, talk about UX content and work content, also some lifestyle things. So if you're enjoying this so far, I hope you think about subscribing, leaving me some comments down below, and let's get into it. Start off with the fun fact. Did you know that hiring managers only spend about 1 minute looking at your portfolio before they move on and make their initial judgments? So I bring that up because I think the first mistake that I've seen is not remembering your audience. As designers, I feel like we design for what we think looks good, what makes sense for our users, but when you are applying for a job, your audience is that hiring manager. You want to get the job, so that make sure when you are working on these things that is something that you remember. Hiring managers are typically looking for skills, experiences, qualities in a UX designer. So whatever you're putting in that case study, does it speak to your skills? Does it speak to your experience? You don't want to create a missed opportunity to show that you could be a fit for this company. So say all that to say, make sure you're just thinking about your audience as the hiring manager. What's going to stand out to them? If you only have, like I said, that 1 minute, that's 60 seconds to really grab them, what is that going to look like? Okay, the next thing is lack of context and not enough narrative, especially when it comes to defining the problem. Now that I've been in the design role, guys, I realize how light of an objective and problem statements that I had in all my portfolios. And I'm going to show you guys one of my projects. We're going to pop over here in a second. I think new designers, we often fail to provide sufficient information because obviously as they're going through your portfolio, the hiring manager, they're going to see like the pretty pictures and the final wireframes, but they also really understand the context of why your final solution looks so good and works so well. So let me show you what I mean. I'm going to shame myself a little bit here. So I'm going to use this portfolio project, this case study, as an example of things that I would improve. Okay, so cut. Subscription management app. There's tons of them out there. Overview and business goals are really the only thing that I've used to describe what this is. And obviously people can kind of infer, like they see that, okay, subscription management, but I'm only saying what it is. I'm not exactly getting into what problems are being solved. So like I am touching a little bit on it, like it's hard to keep track of your services, the business goals, things that we're wanting to do, unsubscribe to cut down on spending, get notifications, all these things. But just this format, it would be so easy to glance over this and just get into the discovery phase. So that's what I'm saying, is that there are better ways to lay out this context so people aren't missing it by the time they get all the way down here into like some of the final designs. Like these look great, but I feel like they'd be more impactful if they knew like, okay, wow, having this reminder here is really nice, or this budget breakdown solves one of the problems that our users were having. So I just mean like that, and that's kind of a muscle that you have to develop, but if you can start to do that sooner, the better off you're going to be. The next thing I would say is I see that a lot of new designers tend to over design their portfolio. I'm not even talking about the projects, I'm talking about the layout. And again, designers, we can really get in our own way, especially when it comes to how things are laid out, but the layout isn't gonna matter unless it's bad. You know what I mean? Like if you have a good, clean layout, great, they won't even think twice about it. It's when it's bad, that's when it takes away from the whole portfolio and what it takes away from you as a designer. So popping over to my screen again. I've shown this before, but this is literally the landing page of my portfolio. Me on the side, my projects, and that's it. Like room to add another one. And then on the left, I've got a tiny little blurb about me. Work is just literally this page. About me takes you to the about, of course. This resume link creates a PDF that you can download and then takes you to my LinkedIn. Like I don't have Instagram on here. I don't have Twitter. Like, none of these things are relevant to my job. So I don't have any of those socials on here, and it's very clean. When it comes to portfolios, take a page of Apple's book. Do you remember the Apple commercials and the Mac commercials where it was literally just the white background? And I think a lot of them still are that way, but it's literally just all white and then whatever they're showcasing. That's kind of the approach I took when I was designing my portfolio, especially this landing page, because simplicity is key. Okay, you're not going to think that, oh my God, you're such an amazing designer because your portfolio layout is like flashy. You don't want it to be flashy. You don't want to take away from the meat of the portfolio, which is the actual work. So keep it simple. Don't make it too crazy. I think I'm done putting myself on blast a little bit. The next thing I'll say is explaining the why and the how. That I have noticed is not in a lot of portfolios. And this is something that I will give snaps to Springboard for this one, because at least my design mentor, he drilled into me that you need to explain how and why. Why did you decide to make it this way versus that way? Was it because of user research? Was it because competitors? You need to have reasoning behind all your design decisions. And I think that's hard because when we're new, we're like, well, I think that's kind of what looks good, and I've seen it done that way. Okay, let's say you've seen something done a certain way on Google, that they can filter. They do it a certain way. Google probably has a reason for that, and you should have a reason that's not, oh, because Google does it that way. So that is something that I was really grateful for, because I feel like I did a pretty good job of that in all my projects, of explaining like the why. It's okay to show things that didn't pan out. So let's say you thought you were going to make a design decision based off of this, and you took it so far and it didn't work out. It's okay to show that exploration, because trust me guys, a lot of the stuff that you're going to be working on is not going to come to fruition. It's probably going to fail. You're going to go down this path is done. Like, you're never going to go back down that path again. So it's okay to show that as well, but you really have to explain the why, because the way that you think is the reason you're going to get the job. Like, your portfolio can look beautiful and sparkly and all these things, but if you can't articulate why you made these decisions, and for good reason, and you literally backed it up with facts, is lack of variety in your projects and your case studies. And this is kind of like, there's kind of two ways to think about this. You can have a case study, like let's say you are wanting to be in fintech and that's all you want to work in. You could have a case study or a portfolio that's all fintech related projects. But if you decide to go that route, you need to make sure that you are solving for very different problems. If it's all kind of under that same umbrella, then what's going to differentiate case study A from case study C? You need to be making sure you're tackling different design challenges within that big umbrella, which is harder to do. So I don't really recommend that. I'd rather you do a diverse range of projects, whether that's, like, I think in mine, okay, I've got one that's related to finance, I've got one that's related to interior design, one that is e-commerce, and one is subscription apps, so a little bit even more finance. So that's what I mean, because each industry is going to have different problems. So if you can show that you can like tackle different industries and their associated problems, it shows versatility, and it shows that you can work with different user personas, because all these different industries are going to have different personas that's going to have different needs. So just the more expansive you can be, the better. Okay, so those are a few portfolio mistakes that I have come across. Things like I showed you that I'm doing as well, or I have done in my older case studies. Again, shout out to Springboard, because I feel like they did a good job of, as I was kind of gathering research on common mistakes, there was quite a few where I was like, ooh, no, I learned to specifically not do that. So shout out to Springboard. The link in the code in the description will get you $1,000 off, guys. And they have a few cohorts coming up. So if you're interested at all, make sure you check it out. I could easily do a part 2. So let me know if you guys want me to do another part 2 of these. I try to touch on things that are kind of popular ones, but also things that I feel like are a little bit more niche, and things that I have seen and things that I have done. Like I said, I mentioned this because the job market is competitive, guys. So anything that you can do to set yourself apart and your portfolio apart, you want to do that. You want to cut these mistakes out before they even happen. I think that's it for me, guys. Yeah, don't forget to subscribe, leave me some good comments down below. Let me know what mistakes that you guys have made or that you guys have seen. I love when you guys chat amongst yourselves in the comments. So let's see if we can get that going for this one. With that, guys, I will see you in the next one.